Good arising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahushai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past, in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth, so we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Brethren, in one of yesterday's videos, I was reading from the Book of Mormon and talking about how as we continue to produce good fruits, that the Most High is going to remove the ones that are producing bad fruits. What are the good fruits that we are producing as a nation now? The Most High has been working diligently to give us back our true history. And as we are working together to get through this information and share it with the world, I'm sure that is one of the prime examples of producing good fruit. And that is why they're talking about how this new variant will be the predominant variant by the end of March, which is going to be very close to our Passover. See, the other churches and these other nations cannot produce good fruits outside of the truth, outside of following the Most High and cleaving to the Most High's chosen people. So as they, round one gets to almost, to an end, comes to an end right now, in the next couple of months, well, like month and a half, pretty much, they're going to be exposed for producing these bad fruits and not having the light in them. There was a story I saw last night and this morning talking about the congressman who had both vaccines and still tested positive for the plague. Now, that's just how many more stories are we going to hear like this in the next month and a half about people who have followed protocols, taken both vaccines, and they come to find out they're still susceptible to the plague. You can see this ball starting to, pick up speed going down the mountain. You can see how the Most High is exposing these other nations for their lies, because they're trying to go out there and make it seem like they have everything under control. And even when it comes out that all their the things that they've set up aren't working, they're still trying to paint some rosy picture, like, oh, that's okay, that happens. We already knew that was going to happen, that people were going to still test positive for the plague even after getting our vaccine. I'm like, what? Then why would I even take your vaccine if I'm going to still test positive? Well, that's okay. You didn't go to the hospital, or you haven't died from it. That's what that's their, I don't know, their saving grace. Oh, well, you didn't die. Yeah, but I still got it. Yeah, but you didn't die. But I still got it. I'm still positive. Well, you didn't go to the hospital. Well, how do you know he's not going to be in the hospital in the next couple weeks? That's usually how it works with the plague, right? You get it, you have it, and then you can progressively get worse at any time. You can get worse and get better and get worse again. I mean, there's plenty of ways this is going to work out. But the main thing is this: as we continue to produce good fruits, the Most High ramps up the destruction of our enemies. He ramps up the sweeping off of our lands, that these enemies are going to be swept off of our lands. Now you're projecting, these new variants. It's like every day you look at the news, they give a little bit more information. They give a little bit more information. Last week it was the variants don't matter. The vaccines will work against all of them. Now it's like, well, there's been some studies and it shows that these don't work as well, that the efficacy goes down. Now it's you're hearing some stories about how it doesn't work very well against the South African variants, and that's only the variants that we know about. But this is why it's so important for us to be continuing to produce good fruits, or the way the Most High gives us the opportunity and has us working together. That's how we produce good fruits together. It all started in October when we got this deeper understanding, when the sister shared that the Black Celts book. And then it's just been, getting more and more information. The information about our ley lines. And that's what we're going to be getting into actually today. Because that's all part of it as well. Now, if we would have just followed the Gentiles, we would be just sitting around arguing about the Bible. Arguing about, same arguments that we would have the whole time. I said, so it's like, this is how we grow. This is how we produce more fruits, by working together as a family, getting this information together as a family, supporting the people who are bringing out this information. I said, that's how we all produce good fruits. Everyone has their blessing and their skills to bring to the table. And that's how we produce these good fruits as a nation, and we become the rising example on the hill for everyone else. We're going to be getting into this book right here, The Old Straight Track. It's mounds, beacons, moats, sites, and markstones, by Alfred Watkins. Hopefully you guys can find this. You might want to pause it and see if you can find the book right now. This book was recommended to me by one of the brethren. And I got it, and I've been kind of reading it and studying it a little bit, and I want to bring some information to you guys that kind of verifies some information that we've already had before. Some parts of it I'll read, some I'll leave up for you guys to read. But I shared this maybe a day or two on Patreon. Shared a little bit of the information of this book, because I was going to be doing some videos on it. So sometimes if you guys want to be able to get a chance to get it before I put it out on a video, you can go on to Patreon and look at it over there as well. Just because I don't want to put it out here and, everyone, Gentiles, run out and try to get the books and resell them or whatever else. So the people who are serious can get it for themselves and get a chance to study it on their own. The Old Straight Track. It's mounds, beacons, moats, sites, and markstones, by Alfred Watkins. Okay, the 4th edition right here. The Ley-men. Okay, this chapter here. King Cole was king before the troubles came. The land was happy while he held the helm. Beneath the light arc of the heaven span, he chose to wander earth, the friend of man. Men hear him on the downs and lonely inns, in valley woods, or up the Chiltern world. Okay, now that's important at the top. King Cole was king before the troubles came. The land was happy while he held the helm. Now, see, as it talks about how important it is to have the correct leadership, and how not only does that make the people happy, but also the lands happy. That also is a reflection of the animals being happy. That goes back to the scriptures. When the righteous are in power, everyone is happy. But when the wicked are in rule, everybody is mourning. Not just the people, but the land and the animals. And we've gotten to that point right now, that the world is mourning. not just the people, but also the lands, also the animals. Everything is out of sort because the righteous are not, actually ruling at this point. But the Most High is working to change that right now. It says the planning and laying out of the tracks, moats, mounds, and cuttings was not only skilled work demanding experience qualifications, but employed considerable numbers of men who had to work under such skilled direction. A class of men of knowledge must have existed, and probably other classes of men of skill working under them. Such types of men must have had class names applied to them, and both in place names and in other branches of the language. There is such strong evidence of these names that they can be given with some certainty, although with no attempt as yet to deal with their chronology or to which exact type of worker or directing head they applied. The chief names here dealt with in succession are Cole, Dod, and Black, and a large volume of details and widespread examples must be forgiven, as it is necessary to show that conclusions are not drawn from a few local facts. It is uncertain whether these same names might have applied in the same age or in succeeding ages. What is certain is that at some time or another, a Cole man, a Dod-man, and a Black man did live, work, and give their names to a great variety of places. You see, they just start throwing out man right there, and then you got Coleman, Dod-man, and Blackman. Okay, the line of deduction was first revealed by the way. Oops, hold on. Okay. In which the white places align to the places of salt production. Okay. Coal occurs as a place name element in hundreds of places. Map students should note how frequent are coal farms, okay, Cole's farm and Coleman's farm, and if inclined to derive them from an occupier's surname, should reflect on the rarity of Jones, Smith, or Williams farms. There are in Herefordshire 2 hills of the name. Both are lofty and proved sighting points on leys. The first, Cole's Tump, illustrated in figure 80, is crowned with a clump of trees. Okay. 7 beech and 7 Scotch firs, enclosed in a rough circle 15 yards in diameter, and the clump is to be seen for many miles. The other, Cole's Hill, in the extreme north, was visited by Woolhope Club in 1898. And the report records several pits on the summit, attributed to beacon fires. There are Cole's Shill, names in other districts as Warwickshire, okay, mentioned in a Saxon character of AD 799. Near Cheltenham, Coleman's farm is on a ley through another homestead called Colways. A name used by Mansfield is that monument to the beauty of English place names. All right. Reynard the Fox, St. Nicholas, Cole Abbey is a London church. Okay, there it is again, building their churches on our ley lines. Okay. Colgate is a street in Norwich. And the Chronicon Scotorum, the Irish record about a score of separate persons called Coleman, are recorded in the index, and they are bishops, archbishops, and the sons of kings. All right, here we go. I'm talking about what these words mean. All right, that's kind of like the main thing. The New English Dictionary gives a rare, obscure word, coal, as meaning a juggler. Also, as of more frequent usage, cold prophet, sometimes spelt cold prophet, a wizard, sorcerer, or diviner. Also the word coal staff or cowl staff. So now we're talking about some magic and what these actually means. Are we talking about our druids who are going around doing these types of things and naming parts of the land after themselves? We shall see. Now, that's why it's kind of like important to get these books and kind of overlap the information, and how it'll start to talk about certain things. You'll get certain themes going on. Now it says it appears to have a Celtic. Oh, that's we go back up. And Roland's Mona Antiqua Restaurata, the word coel is mentioned in connection with tumuli and cairns, and it is said there are mounds, grounds of probability that it really was some solemn appurtenance or religion, although now quite forgotten. So these things were going on way before the Anglo-Saxons got in there, and we're now always trying to throw religions in there. What we did was not a religion. It was our way of life. It was just following the laws that the Most High had given us. Now it says, it appears to have a Celtic origin, again with the Celts, okay, or the Celts. For in Poo's Welsh dictionary will be found coel, an omen, belief. Colbrin, okay, and I wonder if that kind of goes with the Colbrin Bible, just spelled differently. We're not sure, but we'll see. A piece of wood used in choosing or balloting. Col, Ebirdad, the alphabet of the bards. Col surf, omen of danger. Beacon, bonfire. Colfane, the stones of omen. Now, if this, has kind of goes with some of your guys' research, please put some information down in the description box. Try to expand some of this information. I'm just sharing what I'm reading in here, and I think there's a whole lot of information. Now, here we go. The above, which suggests early practices, are connected with coal by the fact that east of Colchester is an ancient earthwork marked as King Cole's Castle. Excuse me. Between Neath and Brecon is an early camp called Colbrin. And Old King Cole is not the only instance of the name being recorded in folklore, as well as seen by the legend of Old Coles in the chapter on that subject. The following is a list of Cole place names. I'm not going to read all that. I'll leave it here for you guys to check it out, okay? I'm going to skip on down. The 10 cold names marked with an asterisk have it well be seen, corresponding names in one or sometimes two of the other lists, but without the D. Okay. Let's continue. It says, far from West Oldham, but I doubt whether this is the street. Okay. A church in Cardingshire, and how quite near it is an upright Coleman stone with an Ogham inscription and an incised emblem embodying two conjoined curves like a pair of eyes. Just looking here. Let's skip on down here to right here. The much talked about Cold Harbor is given as Coal Harbor. They're kind of changing these spellings. Okay. And Ben Jonson's Silent Woman, and in Haley's Discovery of a New World, and in London on the Thames as a coal harbor. Another coal harbor is marked in a 1597 plan of the Tower of London, within its precincts adjoining the White Tower. A lay through this lying on Great Tower Street goes to Primrose Hill through the Mansion House. Okay. It says when old John Lingen, a new Radnor, was quoting to me an ancient local jingle, he gave the opening lines. Silver John is dead and gone and buried in Coal Harbor. And when I asked him whether he did not mean Cold Harbor, he was emphatic in his first version. The supposed chilly meaning of cold is fairly probable when applied to well, brook, and stream, just possible with harbor. Okay? All right. In general conclusion is that the coalman who gave his name to all kinds of points and places on the tracks was a headman in making them, and probably worked from the coal hills using beacon fires for marking out the lay. So like I said, these guys are working with the lay, and this is kind of like some of the history of what's been going on with all that. 3 local experiences connect also the cold names with old tracks and their sighting points. Visiting Coldstone Common on account of its name, a straight, slightly sunken track, not a water course, was found along its whole length. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and skip on down to Dod, so we can talk about the Dod-man, okay? Dod places and words to Dodd places names and words yield much information and lead to the conclusion that the early surveyor who used a pair of staves in the way described in the sighting staff chapter was the Dod-man. So we got the coal man, we got the Dod-man, okay? Diddley Mound illustrated in my earlier book was Dodley and Domesday book. So I'm not going to read all that. I'm looking for the, I'm actually want to look for the definition in a minute. Let's take a look at this part right here. It should be mentioned that the Tot or Dod at Totnes was the mound of the castle keep, and it sites precisely down the main street of the town. The New English Dictionary gives us one of the meanings of the word Dod. In the north of England and south of Scotland, a frequent term for a rounded eminence. It says Mr. James G. Wood, FSA, is a paper read to the Woolhope Club, and I think it says 1920, on the Scot or Scout place names to be mentioned in another place. It says an alternative for Scotland. We find Deadman's, i.e., Dodman's acre, furlong, or green adjacent to a toot hill, Totman's low, and such like. There is a dead man's hole in Norwich, hole being as usual lane. So here we go. Another New English dictionary meaning for Dod is an old name for a stalk or a staff, club, and several water reeds or plants. The foxtail, cat's tail, reed mace have been given that name. Here, a staff is linked up with sighting points. There is an old name for snail quoted by Dickens and David Copperfield. I'm a regular Dod-man. I am said Mr. Peggotty, by which he meant snail, being an allusion to his being slow to go. Generations of dotting mothers and nurses, when telling off the identity and titles of babies, little pink toes, do it with the old jingle. Okay. So the sight of a snail out for a walk one warm, moist morning solved the problem. He carries on his head the Dod-man's implements and the 2 sighting staffs. skip down to here. The surveyor alone carries 2 rods. The long man is the Dod-man. The prehistoric surveyor. So we got a prehistoric surveyor. Prehistory, before, of course, the Indo-Europeans get here. It says, if any doubt is still felt, look up in the New English Dictionary the meaning of the word dodge as moving something to and fro. There you go. Dod-man, moving something to and fro. Now we got dodge, okay, as moving something to and fro, or backwards and forwards, or up and down, and compare such action with the constant and alternate moving of the 2 sighting rods. He says, in work as described in the next chapter, consider also the movement of a doddering old man who feebly goes through the same action with his feet or sticks. So you're going to see some of these words have different meanings, or they kind of hidden the meanings, but they go back to the surveyors, or they go back to the people who were working with our ley lines. This is the main one I wanted to look at, was black. We talked about the meaning of the word black and meaning the opposite of what it means now. Check this part out. Black is one of the abundant place name elements, and like those of what is it? And like those of just dealt with what is it? And like those just dealt with occurs both in the high places and at all track points. It seems to apply to a man on the ley. For black marstone in Hereford suburbs was black manstone in the 1400s. Blake, I want to say in Blatch, were early variations. So you got these different variations of these words in order to kind of hide what they're talking about. And there also was black manstone, places in Dorset and in Kent. It is a track name, for we have 2 black ways and a Blake way, and also a black lanes and a black yat or gate or road. This last high up Gwancest Mountain, there are black holes in Herefordshire and Devon, 2 in the First County. Other examples are Blackwardine, Blackdown, Blackbush, and Blakemere in Derbyshire, as well as Herefordshire. There are 2 black hills on a spur of the Black Mountains, and grouped near them no less than 7 black hill farms, also a black darren or rock escarpment, and not far off is a Blackwood and a Black Brook, which has a Derbyshire counterpart in Blake Brook. Let's see here. There are black stones for mark points on the coast, and a native telling me about the remains of the village cross at Huntley Gloss said we always called it the Black Stone. At Iona, okay, are black stones which the recorder mentions are really gray. The Black Mixen is both a tumulus and an initial sighting point on Radnor Forest. And there is a tumulus near Brighton called the Black Burr. Black Hill is another sighting point close to the Winds Point Pass on the Malverns. Okay, so now we're going to get into some good stuff right here. Bateman's 10 years digging on Grave Hills records 4 Blake Lows or Tomley. Look up the word in the New English Dictionary, and it is said to be a word of difficult history. For once again, a track name is connected with light. It seems to come from Blake and black, which even in Anglo-Saxon days did not mean without light. Okay, so right now it means without light, something that's black. But back then it didn't mean that. It says, let's go there again, which even in Anglo-Saxon days did not mean without light, but shining, white, pale. Now, did we already talk about that when they switched everything? And even in the Book of Mormon, and that's why everybody keeps talking about the whole thing with black is a curse, black is a curse, because they wanted to switch everything. They switched up the definition, because in the dictionary of 1820, it was talking about how black is actually white, how black is actually pale. And right here, it's talking about how, you read that right there, it says, which even in Anglo-Saxon days did not mean without light, but shining, white, pale, and which root has in fact given us bleach and bleak. There was a lane or hole in ancient Norwich called Bleckstairs from the fullers or cloth bleachers who worked there. Okay? So these definitions have been changed. When we were talking about black before, it was also talking about, our people. Well, actually being light. And if you think of it, our people were the light of the world. We were the ones that the other nations came to when they needed wisdom. So it would make sense then that our mother is wisdom. The Most High gives us wisdom. So this word like black was talking about light, shining. And that was our people. When the rest of the world is in darkness and they need that light and they need that wisdom, they would come to our people. Just like they went to Solomon. Just like they went to Enoch. And that's what's happening right now. The world is in darkness. And for us to produce good fruit, we must be given wisdom and understanding in order for us to bring light to this fallen world. Back then, that's why they've worked so hard to switch it, to make anything black as actually evil, without light, no knowledge, dumb, no understanding. That's what this society has done, even with the terminology, to try to keep people from listening to us and continue to listen to them. And they've had their time to be in control. And now the Most High is showing that they have lifted up the so-called white man. He's been lifted up for such a long time, but now he's being exposed to have no understanding and no wisdom. Whatever happened to putting their faith in the Most High and let his will be done? They don't do that. See, when you say white man, you think of light, but they're actually darkness. The ones that have not had their eyes opened, the blind. And that's what it's talking about right here. How it's totally opposite of what it is today. And that it's been changed on purpose. So again, let's read that part one more time. It says, it seems to come from Blake and black, which even in Anglo-Saxon days did not mean without light, but shining, white, or pale, and which root has in fact given us bleach and bleak. There was a lane or hole in ancient Norwich. Okay, I read that part. Mr. Hugh R. Watkin of Torquay, in an exhaustive paper read to the local Natural History Society, links up the black name with blag, an element meaning in Slav languages blessed or light given. He concludes rightly that most of these places were not so named from being what we now call black, but that the sites were of special or religious interest. So again, right there, it's showing you again that when you start going back into the history of these words, when it says black names with blag, an element meaning in Slav languages blessed or light given. See, this is why the other nations are being brought down. This is why in the new year, the Most High is ramping up the destruction of the sweeping off of the other nations, because they refuse to learn. They refuse to have their minds open. They refuse to humble themselves down to the truth. So when you're talking about black, you're talking about blessed or light given. We are blessed. We have been blessed. The light has been given to us. The light of understanding has been given to us. So things are reverting back to their original meanings. The so-called black people have been given that light that the other nations, the ones that have been awakened, are going to be like a moth to a flame. They're going to be, attracted to the light that we have. The ones that have been given the eyes and ears to see, as well as our own nation, the ones who have been wakened up are going to be, or are going to come to the light. And then also these sites here were of special or religious interest. Just go with special. They keep on always trying to throw in religion. Mr. Watkins gives names, place names, which commence with black and end with borough. So you got Black Borough, Black Pool, Black Stone, Black Grove, but these are special places of interest. So you see all these different names, all these different places with black, and it's probably a lot of our special places. And as they say, religious importance, okay? Or religious interest. Did all the different Black Slade, Black Ford, Black Cap. It says, in early British trackways, I attributed the black places as being on the track of the iron worker or charcoal carrier to the forges, but evidence obtainable has not confirmed this. So that's just his opinion, okay? And I now think, since the information in the chapter on beacons has accumulated, that the coal man or beacon minder would quite likely be the black man as well. Okay, and as no doubt all forms of lay sighting points become objects of reverence, the black places would be so. The beacon tender, in days of greatest reverence or awe, would whether a Blake or coal man by name, being associated with gleaming light. But in later days, the ashes, okay, of his occupation might well alter his name to another meaning. Surnames show the transition of the name, as in bleak, bleak, blake, and black. They indicate derivation from a place name on a track in Blakeways, Blakely, Bleakly, and Blackley, or Blackley, and from a man's occupation characteristic. Okay. Let you guys read the rest of that. I think that was it. Good. Okay. That was the last one. All right. So as you can see, that was the last one we're going to go over right now. I know it's a little bit drier than normal, but you can kind of, as far as the information, but you can read it for yourself and see what you can find out of it, what you can extract from it as well. But it's actually pretty amazing about these different words, what they mean, the derivatives, how they've changed, how the other nations have gone out of their way to make black such a negative term, when before it was all about the light and the understanding, but it's been hidden. But now the Most High is working to bring it out. And that's how we produce this good fruit. And as we produce good fruit, that's nothing but bad omens for the other nations. So as you can see how they said last night that January was the worst month of the plague. Like every single month has been increasing from October, November, December, now January. It's getting worse and worse every month. And our knowledge and understanding has started to increase even more and more starting in October. So you see the correlation. We get more information, we get more understanding, we produce much better fruits. Our numbers increase, and what happens to them? Their numbers are coming down. That's the sweep. That's the total example of the sweeping off of the land. That's the example of producing good fruits. You see how that works out as we are growing in this new information. The other nations, the Most High is sweeping them off the lands more and more every single month. Many of the other groups that are supposed to be in the truth have been teaching the same information for years, and nothing really occurred as far as the destruction of the other nations. Things went along pretty much the same. So that is a testament of the fruit that is being grown. So if you're teaching the same things over and over again and nothing really happened, then you must kind of take a step back and look at what the fruits that you're producing. The Most High gave us the Black Celts book, and ever since then, the sweeping off of the Gentiles off of our land has increased every single month. It is not a coincidence. I had talked about how black and white are the total opposite a long time ago, especially when people keep trying to use that one verse in the Book of Mormon about black skin being a curse. I said it's the opposite of what you think it means. But they wrote that in there to keep you out of the book. So if you accept it or you don't accept it, that's up to you. But the Most High is bringing the truths that we're bringing out. He's the one that is proving that what we're saying is correct. So that's why it's important for all of us to continue to work together. And I appreciate all the love and support I get from the nation. I said, but that's, I said, I love all the prayers, all of the the emails that are being sent to give more knowledge, understanding, to give more stories. I said to give more clarification of things that I bring out, links to other places, monetary support. I said because we use that to go ahead and get other books and more information. And I said, and they've been going out of their way to hide it. And now the Most High has given us the opportunity to to be able to get it. What I would love is if the Most High would move one of these Gentiles who actually has the means to be able to get that Ogilvy book that was $58,500. I said that would be beautiful for us to be able to see the difference. Those are our records anyways. Just like he moved, excuse me, just how the Most High moved the Gentiles in Rome to go and bring all this gold to Peter so that Peter could take care of the people. I said we would love to be able to see the same thing with the Most High giving us that Ogilvy book about America that's $58,500, so that we could actually see the differences, that the things that they've hidden. I said the things that they've hidden. I said that would be a beautiful thing to be able to get our hands on that book. And you know what? The Most High, if it's in His will, will get it for us, so we can see what they've been hiding. That's how we're producing these good fruits now, by opening up the truth to the world. The other nations, they can't come against it because it's the truth. So if it's in the Most High's will, He will get that book to us. So we can actually compare what's been, I mean, so many pages have been ripped out, but we can still get a lot of information from these books. The Holy Spirit can give it to us. She already has been. She's been giving us information and understanding before we even get these books. We always knew that something was wrong in the world. We never fit in. Our spirits never connected with this world. But I thank you. I thank everyone for all of the help, all of the support. And like I said, it's all of us working together. It's not just me, it's all of you as well. And as you see, the Most High is going to bless us in kind. As we are obedient to the way to what the Most High has us do, the Most High blesses us. And it's a beautiful time to be alive. It's a beautiful time now that when we say things and the Most High makes them happen, He makes it come into fruition now. So that before, when the Gentiles used to be, we used to say things and then they could just, laugh at us as they're going to their Christmas parties. They could laugh at us as they're going to their, Thanksgiving parties. They used to be able to laugh at us when they went to their 4th of July parties. Now it's different. Now we say things and they can't go to all those parties. Now we say things and the Most High brings it out and makes it happen. Now that we're telling them that this month is going to be the worst month and the Most High makes it so. When we said this is going to be the worst month for COVID and the Most High makes it so. When we say the vaccines aren't going to work and the Most High makes it so. When we say that there's no way out of this for you and that the vaccine is not going to work, and then all of a sudden one of their congressmen is positive after taking both jabs. Those are the times we're living in now. Just like in the scriptures, when our prophets used to say certain things, they used to make proclamations, and the Most High made it so. Those are the times that we're living in now. And it's an absolutely wonderful thing. And that's why, like I said, as a nation, we're going to stand together as a nation, and we're going to bring out this truth together as a nation. And we're also going to be supported by Gentiles as the Most High wakes up. Or He just wakes up long enough to help us, and then maybe He'll let them go back. Who knows? But we will be successful because the Most High said so. We will produce good fruits because the Most High said we would, and He's going to make it so. Have a wonderful day, brethren. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who was wisdom? Who was Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.